this aspect. But yes, besides all these entire, sequences we need in life, we need some laws to govern the smooth existence. Now, rule of law in the aspect of the liberty environment is the law should not be a weapon. The law should be a tool. Now, when the law is a tool, it strikes within to ensure after whatsoever I'm doing, I should not cross over the other lane to infringe on the interests or the will or desires of the other. Now, where a law becomes a weapon is when I use my own comparative advantage and elevate the law to suppress the others. And that one largely happens in our society. Are we getting the point? So rule of law and rule by law are totally different aspects in this kind of explanation. So we do understand that we need laws. Okay? Though the laws ought to exist to be tools of progress, not weapons. Okay? Okay, that's rule of law. And then next is spontaneous order. Now, spontaneous order spontaneous order is actually systematic, unforced, okay? Undesigned order. Like, let's say language. I'm not forced or there's no guy that is pointed at me to learn a certain language or to learn English. But because of the, the jurisdictions into the market or the demands in the market, I find myself learning a certain language or, systematically. That is the spontaneous order. You don't force it, okay? It's a voluntary, what? It's a voluntary progress, right? So that's spontaneous order. We don't believe in things that we force onto others, okay? Now, limited government. Now, limited government is something that gets out and tries to quake and try to panel beat a lot of our arguments. Now, limited government, in the environment of liberty, we do understand, one, we gave accolade that one, we need the respect of individualism, which is something very important as long as you're fashioning any element of beauty, be it as a leader, be it as an entrepreneur, you need to know that you are a pivot. As an individual, you're so much important as an ingredient in any change that happens around you. Not so. Now, when we get to the limited government, we do understand that government, in larger extent, is an institution that assumes responsibility over the policies or governance around a society, right? Now, what do we understand by limited government? We do understand that the government fine should be there, right? Though its jurisdiction should be limited. Okay? Government should not assume responsibilities that private individuals can do. That's the first thing under limited government. And then two, government should be sizable in a way that it should not be bigger than actually the power. It should not have more power than the people that actually ought to entrust them into the what? To the ring. That's the concept. Though I know some thoughts are raining down into our minds, but I want us to narrow it down. I remember starting it all that the comments of the liberty is the individualism, okay? When we are thinking all these things, don't try to look at, okay, we are now 50 people and trying to be suppressed by the entire thing. Look at yourself as an individual. Are you a victim of the circumstances that are happening around you? Do you pay allegiance to do you try to actually, give over most of the responsibilities of the decisions you have to make in your life to the government? Should it be the government to decide for you whether you can make it in life or not? We have reached an extent whereby you go somewhere and then someone starts government to Yambi. Now, as a libertarian, before reaching to that level, I first have to take over the responsibility of myself. Even on the private matters that I can actually settle on. These are concepts that actually settle down and guide you and shape you to have the ultimate and the beauty of having the self-advancement before trying to look at the collective picture. Are we together with someone here? Okay, let me narrow it down now quickly. When I joined Students for Liberty, first and foremost, I had this beautiful dream that was actually crafted into me from the society set up, to the large extent, most of us believe what we believe because it's how it has raised us. Not so. Most of us believe what we believe because it is how it has raised us. To a lesser extent, we think our own thoughts and try to command the aspects of our life. Now, here's the beauty. Growing up in a family of an average employee, a government worker, the big dream is get a government job. Is it allowances, get pensions, they call it pension, something like that, So I grew up having this entire picture, government is the safe zone. All the pursuits and whatever you go, study hard, be an engineer, sciences were good, that is the doctrine that is in place. That's the picture. Now, my first interaction with Students for Liberty, I think it was a Liberty camp, and these thoughts came in, private property, having control over your life. Then before me, I was like, no, but government should do this, but government should do this. Someone told me, do you think government has your best interest at its heart? Or it's you who has your best interest at your heart? That's the question that settled at the core of my heart. I think rambled around me for over a period of 3 months, questioning myself. I think I can live at the expense of the government. But on the other hand, government is living at the expense of not only me, but at the expense of everybody called a citizen. Are we getting the point? So that's the point I started showing out that no, this is not the picture. I need actually to design concepts, to design avenues that I ought to be in control of before subjecting. That's how this entire picture of actually knowing to change the society around me, I have to get into more of identifying problems around. I have to design solutions that are largely into my control. Okay? That's when the entire avenue of thinking into entrepreneurship as an approach, benchmarking it and actually beating it, merging it with the leadership became so important. That was the point I thought of think tanks, business. I think as for now, I think we're working on it. I think it's the third company already. I'm an engineer by profession, so we do contracting, okay? But all those dreams could not come to a reality, could not come to a ground. I think most of George registered the company, Oscar the company. These are the mindsets now that come into the picture. You realize now, how do we become the Jack Sparrows of our Caribbeans? But where does all this commence from? Having this entire shift at the picture that you are the one who has the best interest of your life, of your future at heart. That is where it all commences from. If there's anything we have to attribute from this entire thing, going forward into the discussions of liberty, is the footprint is individualism before we get to the entire avenue of trying to interact more and actually exchange more value for value. More sharings will come in, but that is the attribute. When I joined Students for Liberty, the biggest success in the picture was getting to the settlement and to the agreement that I ought to architect everything I think I should be part of. I don't need to be to morally actually compromise of footprints that are being designed by other people, whom I assume have my best interest at their heart, literally knowing that they have their own interests that I don't have control over. The only interests you can control are the interests that you fashion as you as an individual. So if we understand that life begins all around from the avenue, we were going through the book, right? From the avenue of will, because it's out of the judgments of knowing that I have my own interests, you start judging on how do I shape this entire interest. That's when you have to look down into your abilities. You don't actually look down into what the system tells you. I'm one of the person I think of. The indoctrination we get from school is we think school, to a larger extent, trains us. Actually, I decided to settle for education and not schooling. They're two different things. I try to create a line between that. Education and schooling, to me, I judge them differently. Schooling is whereby you just go through the doctrine, be a good boy, get a job, go into a system that's already designed for you, okay? And then education is more of actually get the knowledge, learn more, and actually practice in the larger extent. Now, school is the biggest system that's in our place. 2, religion is into place. Families are into place. Now, all these are armies that are fighting against the individual self. That's you, right? That's why, as Liberty, we emphasize more on the individualism beauty. Because we understand all arrows are fashioned to that unique element. And when that unique element is frustrated, doubt me or not, all of us here will be a frustration to our society. Because the way we picture society is so much different. And the beauty of the market is we trade our differences. Why someone will pay me to go and construct is because I carry some difference he or she does not have, but she or he has a difference I can trade in exchange. Okay? So trade is exchange for value, and value is the differences we do have among us. If I had everything, if I could make my watch, if I could make my clothes, I could not trade. That's the difference individuals have from animals. We are different from monkeys because we trade. Monkeys don't. Monkeys only judge their life from getting a banana and eating it, and that's settled. As an individual, I have to dress up, I have to actually do this entire thing, but I can't do all of them by myself. I have to have a comparative advantage, which I exchange voluntarily, value for value. Thanks very much. In case of any engagements, we shall continue.